That's actually my favorite, the crab. Is it that or is it that? Ooh, now you've got me thinking. I think it's this. It's that.
Maisie, are you ready to chat about your lyrics?
I absolutely am.
What is your favourite lyric you've ever written and why?
Probably the middle eight of History of Man, where I sing, women's hearts are lethal weapons, did you hold mine and feel threatened? I love that song because it is this really sort of niche examination of the great pain of womanhood and also Greek mythology. I wrote it and released it thinking that it was maybe just for me because it was very specific and sort of niche, and then it really found a whole audience and it's now one of my biggest songs and probably a fan favorite for sure.
Women's hearts are lethal weapons. Did you hold mine and feel threatened?
What is your favourite lyric written by somebody else?
Ooh, this is, again, maybe quite random, not what people are expecting from me, but there's a song called Send in the Clowns, which I think is a Stephen Sondheim song, but there's a Frank Sinatra cover, and there's this part of the song where he says, just when I stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours. That section where he sings that lyric, I am such a lyrics girl, but I also think the lyric has to make sense and work with the melody. That piece of music and that lyric and that moment in that song is so perfect.
Do you remember a lyric from the first song you ever wrote, and how does it make you feel now?
The first song that I ever wrote was in fact not my song, I just pretended. It was About You Now by the Sugar Babes, and I wrote it out in my notebook when I was a kid, and I went around telling people that it was my song that I had written. So a lyric from that song would be, it was so easy that night, should have been strong, yeah, I lied, nobody gets me like you. And I didn't write that lyric, but I told people I did, so I'm gonna go with that. And how does it make me feel now? Well, now that I'm an adult and can admit that I did not write that song, and it is a Sugar Babes song, it makes me feel ashamed of my actions when I was 9, but still a massive fan of the song.
Now I'm going to read out a series of lyrics from your songs.
Okay.
And I'd like to ask some questions, if that's all right.
I would love that.
I eat about you, so I weigh less than when we met. What do these lyrics mean to you?
So those lyrics, that opens you, that opens the song, and I guess the literal translation of that would be when you're so heartbroken over something that it feels impossible for you to do really simple daily tasks like eating and sleeping and getting dressed, all those things feel so difficult. So saying I eat about you so I weigh less than when we met is an ode to that.
I eat about you, so I weigh less than when we met. I sleep about you, dream of you two having sex.
It's a kind of a complex lyric, and I guess also about my relationship with heartbreak and food and all those things are sort of put into a very sort of little concise package. But I love that lyric.
Excuse me, sorry, his kisses make me cocky. Call me Kevin Costner, the way I'm guarding his body. Please explain.
So that's a lyric from my song My Regards. And in that lyric, I liken myself to Kevin Costner, who is in a film called The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston, timeless classic. And I'm basically saying, the literal translation of that would be, my apologies, but my significant other is so sexy that unfortunately the confidence that gives me is criminal, and I have to constantly be using my 5'2" frame and body to be protecting him from others' eyes.
Excuse me, sorry, his kisses make me cocky. Call me Kevin Costner, the way I'm guarding his body.
Can you also please give us a moment of the dance from the My Regards video? Hand movements will suffice.
Yes, I absolutely can. I was like, I can't do full body, but I can do...
Perfect.
That's actually my favorite, the crab. Is it that or is it that? Ooh, now you've got me thinking. I think it's this. It's that.
A true professional.
Thank you so much.
That was beautiful, thank you.
God bless all of those other eyes. They can look, but they can't ever touch. Now I'm sewing his name in my 509s, and he's skipping my heart double.
I was chasing phantoms, always starving, never full. Then you made me dinner. Where there was push, now there is pull. Is that what falling in love feels like to you?
Yeah, that's a nice interpretation. I think that lyric is cool because I've written a lot of songs. I have 60-something songs out, and one of the best things about that is my fans can often find really interesting threads between different songs of mine, and that lyric Well, people actually linked it to I Eat About You, So I Weigh Less Than When We Met from You. And also I have a song called Love 'Em I Don't, where I say I wasn't eating and you still said nothing. And I think that's so cool. And also kind of meta how like these are songs about my real life and my real life experiences and my journey. And I think real true love is what Audrey Hepburn is about, is like real, true, healthy, grounded love. And I do think, yeah, it's a feeling that does feel very easy.
So take me back to the country, to the hills and to the spires. I hate the after parties, I want forests on fires.
Nothing more frightening than a woman scorned and a box of bleach. Is this true? Can you take me back to a time you've been scorned in a bathroom with a box of bleach?
Wow. You know, some of these songs I haven't played or heard that song for a while, Blonde, but that is a real time in my life. Like hearing that lyric now really takes me back. When I first went blonde, it was actually, I was seeing this guy and I went blonde and then we went on another date and I think it was Valentine's Day. I think I like went blonde, went on this date, didn't tell him, and then he did end things with me and then I did write this song. So I'm not talented enough to do a box dye, but the bleach is powerful and my life has changed and did change since being a bleach blonde and I would really recommend it to people.
Got the news just last month that I'm exhausting and you're not in love. Didn't say it in those words, but I know how your tone works. This sounds like a shattering way for a relationship to end. Is it something that you really experienced?
They're such crazy lyrics. It's so crazy hearing them as in a conversation. I did experience this, yeah. I mean, I lost the breakup. Good Witch is very autobiographical, so this was based upon a real experience. But I kind of love that because the song itself, even hearing those first few lyrics, they're so dramatic and it's so sort of larger than life. And I love that even though obviously the situation was very gutting at the time, I love that it's been immortalized in this way that feels very sort of silly and spiky and petty, and I was just having so much fun. I'm writing Lost the Breakup, I was just having so much fun.
Got the news just last month that I am exhausting and you're not in love. Didn't say it in those words, but I know how your tone works.
Speaking of petty things, then I can't help thinking that she's got a better body. Has she got a body better than mine? What's the pettiest thing you've thought or done after a breakup?
Probably the pettiest thing I've done that I will admit to is some of the songs I've written that are not out, and also specifically some of the lyrics. There's multiple songs where I can think of lyrics that I didn't use because I knew they were just either too mean. And you know what, it's most of the time, it's not really about being honest, because I don't mind being honest, it's about being mean. And actually, I remember hearing once somebody say, you don't want to be mean for the sake of it, if you can help. And obviously everyone should write honestly, and if there are grounds to your meanness, if there is a deeper story to it than just the surface level mean, then that's obviously fine, and I've done that too. But if you're just being mean for mean's sake, it's not going to age super well, and I do agree with that, at least in my experience.
Playing a perfect Patrick Bateman, put blame on anyone but you. All kinds of ghosts down in your basement, you made me feel so useful, then so used. Why do you think that being called crazy or psycho by an ex can cut so deep?
Wow. I think that it's being made to question what you thought was real can feel very hurtful and distressing and confusing.
Now that I'm over that hill, you wanna say how you feel. Crazy to think that you still call me psycho.
Especially when it's by somebody that you thought you were experiencing something with together, and then to be told that you weren't, even though, you know, you were there, you lived it, that's very difficult.
Are there lyrics that you've written that make you cringe now?
When we were in Berlin recently, we were doing a little show, and the bookshop we were doing a show in was playing my music, and we were in the dressing room, and it was just all of my music on shuffle, I guess, all 60-something songs. And there were a couple songs that came on that I was like, the thing is, it's not a bad song, it's kind of boring. And I will say that about my song Birthday. It was the second song I ever released, so give me credit, I was 18. And it's a fine song, but do I want to fall asleep when I hear it? Sometimes. So I'll give Birthday, not cringe, but a bit sleepy.
Justice to birthday fans, though.
Yeah,
out
sorry
there.
to my birthday fans. And listen, it's great. I always say this to people, I'm like, well, you can listen to it whenever you want.
Maisie, thank you so much for walking through your lyrics with us.
Oh, thank you. It was so fun.
So take me back to the country, to the hills and to the spires. I'll trade the after parties for my baby by the fire. We'll go back to my parents. I'll be barefaced in the light. You'll say you look like Audrey Hepburn tonight.